Hello, this is going to be on IXL Algebra 2 topic L3, find roots using a calculator. If you want to find it via the shortcut, you can just type SD5 into the search bar and it'll bring it up right away. So this is asking you to find the real number root using a calculator this time. Round your answer to the nearest thousandth. Now, depending on which calculator you're using, whether you're using your phone or you're using a graphing calculator or you're using the computer, you might need to use slightly different buttons. But I'm going to show you using the computer because this is something that everyone has access to, okay? So this is asking you to find the root of square root of 18. Remember, if you have a square root, there's no index, but we know that there's really a 2 here, right? So this is the square root. We call it a square root because of the 2. So the square root of 18, I'm going to just pull up and type in calculator into Google, and you'll see that the first thing that comes up is this scientific calculator right here. Now this has a square root button, right, of 18, and in this case you hit the square root first. Sometimes you'll have to write the number first, the radicand, and then hit the square root button. What's really important here is to think before you actually calculate, what should my number be pretty close to? Well, the square root of 25 is 5, and so it should be lower than 5. And the square root of 16 is 4, and since 18 is somewhere between the square root of 16, 4, and the square root of 25, 5, our answer should be somewhere between 4 and 5. So when we take the square root of 18, let's see if that's what we get. Yeah, we get 4 point something, which is great because that's what we were looking for. So whenever you're calculating square root or a cube root or even a fifth root, make sure that your answer makes sense first. So here we have 4.24264, 4.24264, 4.24264. Now our question, this is a 2 right here. Our question is asking us to round to the nearest thousandth, right? The nearest thousandth. So we need to remember, what do each of these places represent? All right, so this is our ones place. This is our tenths place, right? That's our ones place. This is our tenths place. Right here, this 4, that's our hundredths place. And this here, this next one, this 2, that's the thousandths place. That's 1 out of 1,000. This is the thousandth place. So if we're rounding to the nearest thousandth, we need to look at the number after this thousandth. And since this is a 6, it rounds it up. Remember, if it's 5 or higher, then it rounds it up. And if it's 4 or lower, then it stays the same. Right? And since I put a down arrow, let's make this an up arrow. I think that'll make more sense. All right, so since the 6 is greater than a 5, we're rounding this up. So this 2 would become a 3. So this will be 4.243. 4.243. Great. Let's try this one. The square root of 694. I'm going to go to my calculator. Press this button twice just to make sure it clears. And what was our number? 694. Square root of 694 equals 26.3438. So let's see. Let's go ahead and round this to the nearest thousandth, right? So we have our tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we look at the number to the right of the 3, and since it's an 8, we would round this up. So this would be 26.344. 26.344. There we go. All right, I'm going to skip to the next level so you can see what we do when we have something greater than a square root. All right, so here you see the index is no longer a 2, or there is a number right here, right? There's a little 4 right there. So what do we do in this case? Here we have the 4th root of 596. Now let's go back to this calculator. If you'll notice, this calculator does not actually have a place where you can put in an index. So what I like to look up is scientific calculator. My favorite one is on Desmos. So I like to go to the Desmos scientific calculator because the format looks very similar to how you would write it out. You see here how they have the square root, but next to the square root, they have this n radical. The n is where you can put in an index. So here we're finding the 4th root. So you type in a 4 there, click on the radicand, and then you can put in 596. And as you see here, it's really user-friendly. It says your answers show up on this side, and here is the value, the real number value of this this 4th root. So again, we're rounding it to the nearest thousandth, so tenths, hundredths, thousandths. We look at the number after it, it's a 9, so we round it up, 4.941. All right, let's try one last one. This is a 5th root of 898. So you can just change this index to a 5 and change this to 898. Let's check that that's correct. And our value is 3.896 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. We look at the 3, and since it's lower than a 5, we keep it the same. So our answer will be 3.896. All right, hopefully you can get 100 on this one. If you have any questions, you can send me a remind message, or you can also reach out to me on